Good morning, hope you're all well. Just out and about getting some steps in. I've actually so I live maybe a mile away from the pool in Salford, and they've got a sauna and steam room, so I thought we was being so close to trials, we're 5 weeks from racing at trials, so I thought, well, maybe kind of that sauna steam room might help. It might give me some kind of extra recovery benefits maybe, so I thought I'll give it a go. And also we've only been a 20 or so minute walk each way, although now it's going to be slightly uphill. I thought it's also a nice way of getting some steps in, so it's kind of a bit of a win-win really. I'll see about, I'll get membership or something, and yeah, maybe I'll start going twice a week, once or twice a week. If I notice a difference tomorrow morning anyway, maybe. But anyway, the session today is swimming pretty good. It's a lactate production session. So when we swim, particularly 100 metres and 50 metres, those kind of short distance events, we want to produce as much lactic acid as possible, because our bodies end up being fairly efficient at synthesising that lactic acid, resynthesising it and using it as an energy source. So what we've got here is 850s. The first two are front end speed, so we're trying to mimic that first half of the 100 metre race, and then the next 6 are just max, as fast as possible for the 50 metres. Out of those 6, we did 3 from a dive and then 3 from a turn. I suppose the only reason for mixing it up is just to keep it a bit varied, kind of challenges in, I suppose, a slightly different way. I was pretty happy kind of overall with the way I swam, so you'll see all that right now. So here we are then with rep number 1 of the session. So kind of as I mentioned, this is the front end speed one, so this is where we're trying to hit the stroke rate, stroke count, kind of the feeling of the race with the time, kind of being not irrelevant but kind of secondary. We know that obviously we're still 5 weeks out, so kind of looking for it to flow. And I actually think this one looks pretty good. When I was swimming it, I felt it was all right. I've got the splits down here, so my stroke rates there were 57, 57. So 57 on the up through about 20, 57 through about 35 or so, which is actually pretty much exactly what I want come race day. As you saw there, 24.9 as well total time, so not too bad. Second one then, we're in. My dives were feeling good this session. There was quite a clean entry there. Breakout pretty good. Again, I look quite nice and flowing. I'm there 58 stroke rate off the start, so basically identical to the first one. But then the stroke rate drops a little bit, and I felt that going through it, that I was a little bit, instead of being kind of flat and riding high, I was a little bit kind of angled. So that's why I think then the stroke rate dropped to about 54, and I ended up being 0.4 slower. On the front ends, obviously you notice that I've gone to a turn. That's obviously because it is a front end. I think sometimes if you don't do it to a turn, people can end up just maxing to the finish, and it's kind of not really indicative of what you're going to be like on a front end. But now you're into the max, you see the stroke rate's a little bit higher there, kind of reducing the breaths. But obviously I think I am faster kind of with the breathing, but it's a little bit hard really to kind of maintain that when you're already 2 reps deep. But this is a good finish, head down there, coming in. So the rates on that one was 62 to 55. So again, similar to the one before really, it just drops second half. And I think you can notice that kind of with that speed difference. This is the second of the front end, of the max reps, and here I get to race Donny. So Donny was doing a mix of strokes, into some breaststroke at the start, then some backstroke and freestyle. So when he did freestyle, we could race each other. We ended up kind of being pretty close. It's interesting really, like kind of comparing the times on this. So I think I was 0.5 ahead of him to 15, and then 0.6 at 25 and 0.6 at 50. So kind of our swim speed there is really similar. I think I accelerated well into that finish there. Rates on that one 58.55, so again it drops a little bit through that, and that's what I think is going to be really handy as we go into rep number what's this one? This is going to be the third, the last from a dive. And I don't know if you could see there, my dive was really vertical, which meant I was really deep and I had to come up really steeply, and it kind of threw me off. You can see I'm 4 strokes kind of before that camera switches. But yeah, what I was going to say was that kind of the power of doing all this long course, and we're fortunate that we can race long course, train long course in preparation for racing long course, because it means that we can kind of get the practice of kind of building the tempo through that. You can see kind of, yeah, how much these reps are taking out, and we've still got 3 more to go. But the kind of, because the stroke rate kind of was consistently, other than that first one, dropping by 3 or 4, and although it kind of maybe it doesn't sound like much, it ends up making probably quite a big difference how well I can ride on the surface of the water. So kind of we get to practice that and building without snatching at the strokes. Then we go into the 3 from a turn. This is the first one then, again on my own, breakout not too bad, kind of yeah, coming through there. Now these were kind of hard, not only because they're after the 5 reps we've done already, the 2 front ends and the 3 maxes, but it's also hard because you kind of, well, I anyway find it very easy to kind of get a little bit carried away, and this is where the 15-meter camera overheated and turned itself off, so we've just got the long range as I get another race in here with Donny. It's hard, I find, to kind of, I end up over swimming, a little bit like I do when I race a 50, really I end up over swimming them, so kind of it's just trying to swim max and just swim really fast because it's hurting. You're like, oh, just get to the other end. But I think by the time I got to this last rep here, where again I think I am racing Donny again, I was able to kind of treat it a little bit more like a back end effort. So obviously a back end is still max, especially back end 100 is max. You just want to get to that finish. But I had the self-talk and the pain mastery script kind of really well rehearsed on this, and I think this is actually the best the stroke was and kind of the best the swim was. It was just fatigued, and that's why it dropped them by that little bit, and probably for that finish as well. I think maybe if that rep with that kind of mental application occurred early at the start, maybe I'd end up being a little bit faster. But that's okay, that's kind of what we do this for. It's for learning, so that kind of when we race next weekend, I can kind of apply that in the race. And then we finished here then with the underwater to kick rep. So this was a really tough finisher. So a dive, 25 underwater, flip onto my back, fly kick on my back to the end. And the dive, it's probably quite good that I didn't have the camera on that dive there because it was rubbish. I'm 11.5 there underwater, which for context, kind of I have done that from a push pretty often. So it's not necessarily overly quick, but like the tempo's not too bad. But I could feel this is kind of lighting up my core and my glutes and my hamstrings and my quads and my calves. My feet are starting to cramp up. Even my sternum, kind of like in there, was feeling like all the muscles were cramped up. But that's going to be it from me today. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you kind of found this, and I hope you kind of look at the reactions at the end of these reps and kind of know that this is the kind of effort we need to put in. If you'd like my help, kind of as I mentioned with the pain mastery script, anything else that kind of you can want help with in your training, I'm available for mentoring, I'm available for race analysis. Go to my website, jingoandswimming.com. And other than that, I'll see you next time. Thank you.